Hailstones hammered parts of Colorado on Easter Sunday. From Estes Park to DIA to Flagler. There was one report in Flagler of golf ball size hail. That is considered severe and damaging. Damaging hail is 1 inch in diameter. That's the size of a quarter or larger. A severe thunderstorm warning is issued when a storm becomes capable of producing damaging hail. Hail falls faster and hits harder in Colorado compared to lower elevations. A 1-inch hailstone that hits the ground at 50 miles an hour at sea level hits at 54 miles an hour in Denver. That can potentially lead to greater damage in the mile-high city. Kansas is the hail state, but the Colorado Front Range is usually called the hail capital. That's because the Colorado Springs to Denver metro area gets more severe hail events than anywhere else in the country, with an average of 13 per year. Accumulating hail is also common in Colorado. 3 to 4 inches fell in Flagler on Sunday, but we've been known to get more than a foot of small hail on occasion. A severe thunderstorm warning can be issued for accumulating hail, even though the size of the stones is usually smaller than 1 inch. Sometimes called plowable hail, it creates low visibility and slippery roads, leading to very dangerous driving conditions. The National Weather Service says that Colorado can get between 10 and 20 plowable hail events every year, so Easter Sunday was likely just the first of many. Hail can get big in Colorado. The state record is 4.5 inches. That's the size of a grapefruit. That size has been verified 20 times, the last time being July of 2011. Meteorologist Cory Reppenhagen, 9 News.